name is Tracy. This is the 3-Wick Thesis Candle channel. It's Tuesday, which means it's time for another episode of Talking Tea Tuesday. This episode is focused on chai candles. I want to just start with just kind of a little bit of a conversation around what chai actually is. So the word chai really just means tea. It can apply to all sorts of tea notes, tea types, tea tastes, tea fragrances. However, it has been Americanized, aka what I like to consider bastardized, and Americans think that chai is a specific type of chai, and that's more of a masala chai. So we think of it as being associated with like a spiciness, some cinnamon, some cloves, some cardamom. That is a type of chai. However, there is a huge world out there of different chai fragrances and flavors. But because I am in America and I am an American, all of the chai candles I ordered are the masala chai. Some of these are going to have tea notes in them. Some of them do not. They're just the spice notes. Just know that if a candle uses the phrase chai tea, that usually means that they're including the spice and a tea note. However, that translates to a tea because chai just means tea. But if you're using the bastardized version of the word, candles like that will imply that there is a tea note plus the spice. 3 of these are just the spice notes, so it's going to be the American version of a masala chai. One of them is a chai tea, which means you're going to get the chai notes plus a tea note. Just something to keep in mind. 3 of these I think you could argue aren't traditional tea candles, but they are what we call chai tea in the US. I'm going to start by talking about the tea house candle. Again, we've seen candles in almost every episode from this company so far. If you've been paying attention, you know it's been hit or miss. The ones I've really loved sometimes don't deliver on strength and throw, and then other ones that I don't really love so much did deliver. This one is their Chai Latte. Now they're doing the typical American definition despite being a Canadian company, and the scent notes are milk, ginger, and cinnamon. So there isn't an actual tea note in this, but it is a tea candle. It's chai. Chai is tea. So I tend to think of this sort of note as the tea is being very loosely used here, and that you're seeping those spices to add to the water in the same way that you would seep a tea leaf to add to water. But in this case, the water is replaced with milk, hence the latte. These all come with a little insert card that tells you all about the fragrance. And this is a tea fragrance only company, so they're considering this a tea fragrance as well. The scent card, this one is orange. And it says, with royal beginnings as a healing beverage, dreamed up by an Indian king, chai is one of the most classic tea flavors worldwide. This candle is warm, sweet, and tickles the inside of your nose with just a pinch of spice. Whether you light it on a cold or warm day, its fragrance fills any room with cozy vibes that seem to last forever. We'll see about that lasting forever part. So here's the front side of the card. Picture of their candle with their brand, and this one is the 8 ounce. Now these are all soy, 100% soy candles, so I do like them for that reason. But the 8 ounce, this is a pricey candle. It's $35 outright, and then because I am in the US, I'm paying extra taxes and fees. Very expensive per ounce, and given my experience thus far, I'm not necessarily excited about doing a reorder with this company, although this does smell delicious. Yeah, it's really pretty. It's creamy. It's milky without being lactonic. And what I mean by that is lactonic notes can read a little bit sour, a little bit tart. This is just creamy. So you get the sense that there's a milk, but it doesn't have to have that really strong lactonic note. The cinnamon is really nice in this, and the ginger is also reading as spicy, so it's more of a fresh ginger note and not like a powdered ginger. Yeah, warm, beautiful. I want to drink this candle, absolutely. So their labels are always really simple. They just have a classic design for every one of their scents. This one has an orange border. It's not a wraparound, so you do get to see the wax. They do 2 wicks in their single wick size jars. So this is comparable to the Bath and Body Works single wick jar, and also in terms of ounces, it's about the same, because this is what, 8? Yeah, 8 ounces. But the difference is they make the jar shorter and wider. So instead of being tall and skinny and tunneling with a single wick, they make it shorter, wider, and do 2 wicks, and I haven't had any issues whatsoever with the burn quality on these candles, so they do have that going for them. Burn time on this is 40 to 50 hours. I think that's about right based off of my history of burning these. So that one's the Chai Latte. The next one I have is a Village candle. Now this one, I tried looking up on the Village website. It's not available anymore, but you can get it from Amazon if you want, and it's coming directly from Amazon, so you can be guaranteed it's legitimate Village candle merchandise, not somebody just using the label and ripping you off. Price is $20.36, and as of the time of recording, which by the time you see this has been a couple of weeks, it is has a 30% off coupon. These do go on sale frequently on Amazon, so be on the lookout for that. I got mine from Amazon. That's the other thing. I like buying Village candles from Amazon because if I get it, I'm blind buying it, right? I can't smell it. If I get it and I sniff it, I don't like it, Amazon takes it back, and it's always really simple. And sometimes they're like, you know what? We don't even want to deal with this. You can just keep the candle. Bonus. So I just often get my Village candles from Amazon if they have it. That's the problem. They don't always have all fragrances. But this is the Chai Tea Latte fragrance from Village. I do really like the picture on here. It feels very much like a chai latte. You've got the anise floating in the milk. You've got cinnamon sticks over here. So it has the right vibe. And I also feel like the color of the wax looks like a chai. So well done with the jar aesthetic. Now this one is 21.25 ounces, and these things last up to 170 hours. And I will say, with my small historical experience of Village, these things don't die. By the time you get to the bottom, you're like, please, I want to be done. I want to move on. They last forever. So for 20 bucks, you're going to live a very long life with this candle. The other thing I like about Village, unlike Yankee, is that they do 2 wicks and they do 2 core wicks. So these tend to, for me, burn pretty well, burn pretty clean. For the most part, they are self-managing. I have had issues in the past where they'll get pretty swampy at some point, but I've found that if you just let it rip all day, I work from home so I can do that pretty easily, I'll just let it burn 10, 12, 14 hours, it comes back to life. I don't pour wax out very much anymore because I've found that they do usually recover by themselves. And I also do minimal trim on these Village candles because they are pretty good at self-managing. And the burn is always very clean. Like no wax residue. It looks like someone cleaned the inside of the jar. I don't have issues with tunneling. In general, I really like Village candle wax. And it is a paraffin candle. There is paraffin in here. So if you're looking for 100% soy, you don't want this one. I don't mind paraffin, so I picked it up. It does smell pretty light on cold. A little bit worried about what that will mean for it on warm. Scent notes on this one. Let me just pull up the website. They do have them down here on the bottom of the label, but it doesn't always include all of them. So this one has scent notes, chai spice, ginger, black tea, and vanilla froth. Yeah, so it's the same. So chai spice, ginger, black tea, so it does actually have a tea note, and vanilla froth. And I really just get chai spice. I don't even think I necessarily get ginger. It is very light though, y'all. The lid smells stronger. In the lid I get ginger. And I do get a sense of the black tea in the lid. Like a English breakfast, so like a stronger black tea. Yeah, with the spice, the ginger, it's beautiful. I don't necessarily get a lactonic note. I do get vanilla, just a hint. Yeah, the jar lid smells beautiful. The wax I'm not getting much out of. And in general, Village tends to be medium at best in terms of strength and throw, so I'm not expecting a lot out of it. For me, it's the value, and this makes for a really good background candle. I like burning this with other fragrances. Okay, third is a discontinued Goose Creek candle. We'll see. They might bring this back. This was a fall candle that came out last year. The whipped chai and espresso has kind of this like brown beige gingham pattern with some leaves on the front. I assume that's supposed to be like a tea leaf, maybe? I'm not sure what those leaves are supposed to be. Scent notes are chai spices, whipped vanilla, and brown sugar. So again, they went with the more masala chai mentality without the tea note. And this is a very pleasant, warm fall fragrance. You get the chai spice, which just feels very fall-esque. You get some warmth from the vanilla, and it almost reads like lactonic. It almost reads like a milky creaminess to me. And then you get just a hint of that brown sugar. It's definitely not sweet. And I'm a little bit peeved that they call this and espresso, and there's not an espresso note in this. However, I will say I've already burned this one because, like I said, with some of my other ones, I bought this long before I had a channel, long before I knew I was going to have a chai tea episode. So I have already ripped into this one when I first got it. And that brown sugar on warm, it does actually kind of end up smelling just a hint bitter and a little bit like an espresso. But this is a chai candle. It's not a chai espresso. I do really like it though. I'm going to reburn this, get back into it, finish it up for the episode so you know more about this one, especially if this comes out this fall. You'll know whether or not you can snag it. And you might be able to still get it on like Mercari or something. Goose Creek candles, I never pay more than $11 for a Goose Creek candle unless it's a part of their licensed luxury line. So get those on sale. These are 14.5 ounces, and then I think they burn, yeah, up to 50 hours. So not as good of a price per ounce, but usually pretty affordable. The last one in this episode is the iced coconut chai latte. This one is one that just came out. Kent from the Candle Channel designed this series, not only the labeling, but the scent notes. And this one has scent notes of spiced chai tea, creamy coconut milk, and vanilla cream. This is, to me, mostly a coconut candle. It almost smells like a summer coconut to me, with just a hint of chai. I think I remember when I did the review on this collection. I'll link it below in case you want to check that out. I feel like this one didn't read like chai at all on warm. Yeah, it reads mostly like a coconut. I don't even know if I get vanilla. Yeah, coconutty. It definitely smells like coconut you could drink. Not so much like a sunscreen, but it does have like a summer vibe to me, where I would expect more of like a fall vibe. I do like the label on this. So he designed this to look kind of like a coffee label for like a small batch coffee brewer roaster. So it's really cute. It's got the little like origin, because normally you have origin on a coffee label of like the country where the beans were grown. It has the scent notes. It has the weight, which just like the other Goose Creek is a 14.5. And then you have this kind of like ombre label that goes from light to dark with the white lid. I don't remember which wick style this was. It looks like it's the thin, stiff, ropey, and then the wax is kind of a greenish color that matches the label. Which, you know, again, I don't know that I would want to drink a chai latte that's this color. I would prefer it to look more like the Village candle and have the color of a chai latte, but we can't always have it all, right? So if I had to rank these on cold, my favorite is definitely going to be the chai latte from Tea House. Number 2, I would have to say, is the Chai Tea Latte from Village. Number 3 is going to be the chai with espresso. And last would be iced coconut chai. I'm going to go rip into these, burn through these, get to the bottom of most of them. There's no way I can finish this one for this review. But the other 3 I should be able to get through, and then I will come back after the cut and share with you my post-burn analysis. All right, y'all, I am back after having spent lots of hours with these 4 candles. I'm going to rank them for you, but I'm also just going to say that I had a little bit of struggle in ranking these 4 candles. I feel like they each have their strength and they each have a weakness, and the weaknesses are big enough to where I wouldn't actually rebuy any of these candles, which makes me a little bit sad to also share this episode with you because I feel like I don't have like a stellar one that makes me really happy and excited. Good news is, some of them aren't available anymore, so it doesn't matter, but also I think I'm still on the hunt for a chai candle. So if you have a favorite, put it in the comments below so that I have something more to explore. In last place, I did choose the whipped chai and espresso. One, this isn't available, so maybe that's a good thing that this came in last place. But for two, there's something about this brown sugar note that's in here that went too dark and too roasty. I can kind of understand why it says and espresso. It almost reads like a burnt coffee element, but ultimately it ended up smelling like burnt coffee, which wasn't pleasant. It wasn't the type of dirty chai that I'm looking for. Dirty chai is what you call it when you add espresso to a chai latte. So in general, this just wasn't a stellar candle for me. It also was horrible in terms of soot, which this is last year, Goose Creek. This was pretty standard for what Goose Creek used to be like for me. Also, there's a creamy note in here. It's probably coming from that whipped vanilla that smells a lot like the creamy note that's in the tiramisu candle, that if you follow my channel, you all know I do not like that candle. So this is just a no-go. I put in my notes, don't like, and that it's not a rebuy. In terms of strength and throw, it was average. It wasn't a powerhouse. You could smell it, but what I was smelling, I wasn't necessarily enjoying. I also felt like it needed more chai spice. To me, this just smelled like a milk and burnt coffee candle with a hint of chai. I wanted lots of chai, real espresso, and less of this whipped cream note that smells like the tiramisu cream that I do not like. So not a recommendation for you and not a rebuy for me. In third, I put, also by Goose Creek, the iced coconut chai latte. Let me just say, this is a very pleasant coconut candle. I did not mind this as a coconut fragrance. However, this is not a chai fragrance. I did not get any chai spice on this at all. Instead, it is a very creamy coconut. It felt a little bit beachy to me. I definitely got coconut milk vibes from this. Like I could imagine as being an iced coconut something, but I just did not get chai spice. And although this is a new jar and new packaging, I did get a lot of pretty nasty soot towards the end of this candle. So it got pretty grimy, it got pretty sooty. This would not be a repurchase for me, not only for the soot issues, which I'm worried about the rest of this collection, although my espresso candles aren't this bad. But yeah, this isn't a rebuy. I don't even think this is a chai candle, and I don't know why they labeled it chai latte. I know Kent described it, but this doesn't smell like chai to me at all. But if you're looking for a nice, creamy coconut milk candle, pick this up. You would enjoy it, but it's not a chai candle. The candles that I have in my second and first place are really, they're tied. I would say that these two are tied. I really had a trouble ranking these two, but I would also say my first and second are also kind of tied. I wouldn't necessarily repurchase either of these, but I think they're equivalently good. The chai latte from Tea House Candle I put in second place, mostly just because of the price. In general, I think this was my favorite in terms of fragrance. There was an edge to this in the milk that didn't play out right on warm. I feel like it almost came across as like bready or yeasty, or almost like how milk smells right before you scald it. I don't know if you've ever scalded milk, but it has a very specific fragrance to it. And I started to get that from this candle when it was warmed. If that wasn't in there, if I didn't have that kind of like, what is this milk doing? I think this would be the perfect chai candle because the spice was really nice. It was pretty subtle, but it was nice. And I do feel like it was a nice creamy chai fragrance. It actually did have some strength and throw for this brand. I was surprised that this one actually delivered a little bit on strength and throw. I did burn it in my bathroom in a smaller space, but I could smell it, which for this company has been a joy when that actually happens. It doesn't happen very often. So I did really like this one for multiple reasons, but I also really disliked it for the price as well as for the milk note that's in here. It just didn't work out. So ranked at number 2, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for you either. And then number 1 goes to Village. Now you'll notice I did not finish this candle, but that's because this thing lasts forever and I don't see myself getting through this probably until sometime this fall because it really does take a long time to get through. But that also does show you how incredibly clean that jar is. I've done nothing to this jar. That's just how clean Village candles burn. And the video that I'm showing you, it does show you that I'm at the halfway point, and that is usually when these wicks start to get swampy. Now, I did just let that rip for almost the whole day. It did come back to life. You'll notice the wicks are longer. I don't usually trim these. These are self-managing. It did come back to life, but you really sometimes have to suffer through, a day of it being swampy and getting less throw to get it back to where it needs to be. In terms of strength and throw, I feel like this had strong fragrance. If you were sitting next to it, it was strong. It also did a good job of filling out my testing space in my garage. However, it did not perform well in the open concept space at all. I could barely smell it, which I think is weird. So if you have a smaller room, I think this would work. That's one of the reasons I'm not necessarily recommending it to you. But for the most part, the reason I'm not recommending it to you is because to me, and I don't know why, this smells like banana bread. I feel like I'm picking up literally on a banana fragrance in this candle. And something about the spice combo reads more like banana bread than it does a chai tea latte. I do not get a tea note in this at all, despite the fact that it says there's black tea. Yeah, on warm, this just smells like banana bread to me. And I asked the hubs, I said, what do you smell? And he goes, what is that? And I was like, well, what do you smell? And he was just kind of got frustrated. He's like, I don't know, what is it? Because he can struggle with like naming fragrances. And I said, do you smell banana bread? And he goes, no. I was like, oh, okay, it's chai spice. He's like, oh. So I don't know. I smell banana bread. He could not place it. He didn't think it smelled like banana bread, but I don't think he thought it smelled like chai spice either. It's a weird one. I would say if you have an Amazon account and you want to spend $20 and see if you like this, it's worth it. And if you don't like it, you can return it. Amazon will take it back. Not a repurchase for me. I'm happy that I experienced it. It is a pleasant fragrance. I don't dislike it. It's just not as packaged, in my opinion. This doesn't say chai latte to me. And in particular, doesn't say chai tea latte because I wanted more of a tea note in this, given that that's an actual scent note on the jar. But clean burn, relatively good burn, did fill a small space. It's got a lot of good stuff going for it. I just can't get past what I'm picking up on as a banana note. It might just be my brain. All right, y'all, that is the end of my chai latte episode. I will say of the entire series, this one is the most disappointing. Please know that there are lots of good episodes on the horizon. There's a fruit tea one still coming up. We've got the Southern Sweet Tea, which there are so many winners in that episode. I also have what I'm calling a World Traveler episode. There's some good ones in that one as well. So stay tuned, hit the subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed. That way you see these episodes every Tuesday pop into your feed. If you appreciated this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. That always makes me feel good. And if you have any suggestions for a good chai candle, put those in the comments below. I need to do some more exploration because these aren't it. These aren't it for me, and I want a chai candle. Thanks so much for joining me again today for Talking Tea Tuesday. I will see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.